Welcome to Practical Architect. My name is Arif Hodzic. I'm a licensed architect.
And I'm the practical son. My name is Branko Hodzic. I was a general contractor for 15 years, and we worked as a design build team. This is how to read drawings for a residential project. If you have a house addition or a brand new house, this is for you to understand how to read what the architect has drawn for you.
The first page is cover sheet, and usually on the cover sheet you have some general notes explaining what the project is all about. For example, if it is house addition, talks about house addition, if certain things that are added or certain things that are saved, and also explains certain things that are going to be demolished. But anyway, give you sort of brief outline of what is going on the drawings. But you also have symbols to show what each material is, and then these are symbols for the drawings, showing different details. For example, this shows the north arrow. And then this shows that when you have a section or detail, shows you where it is shown on the drawings, so you can easily find it. And then there are so many different other symbols for doors, for windows, for wall sections, and so forth.
And why do we put symbols like that on drawings?
We put symbols like that in order to have on the drawings a relationship to show connection between certain drawings and to show, for example, door schedule. Like we have a symbol for door schedule, and on every door we just show the symbol. So we don't have to repeat over and over things. You know that symbol represents the door. And then there is a door schedule that tells you exactly what the door is, what size it is, what material it is made of, what kind of door frame it is, what kind of hinges there are, what kind of lock sets are. Otherwise, drawing would be too complicated to show that over and over. Another thing that I want to point out, it's a list of abbreviation. So if you don't understand on the drawing what it means, you go to abbreviation schedule and you can read. For example, STL means steel. Well, another thing that we have on the cover page is we put electrical symbols. Also lighting fixtures, outlets, so these are all switches. All these things are shown as the symbols. And then when you go to electrical drawing, that symbol, you will know what it represents.
And then we have a drawing index as well, and that's going to showcase all the drawings that are within the package of
within
the
construction package
set.
Of one project, architectural drawings, there is demolition drawing, there are structural drawings, in addition mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So all the drawings that are in the set will be listed over here.
We're going to go through each sheet of the construction drawings, from floor plans to sections, elevations, structural plans, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We're not going to go through every single page on necessarily this project, but we're going to show you an example of each so that way you'll understand what it refers to.
I also have to explain that some architects do not show mechanical, electrical, and plumbing drawings. They depend on the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing contractors to know what they need to do. But on some projects, when the owner requests, architect can do that.
The first sheet is going to be our floor plan.
Okay, this particular house was existing house, and then we added an addition. In this case, additions consisted of living room, garage, and then there are things around the house, retaining walls, the steps, and how to approach, to the house. Everything is labeled. For example, open lines means existing to remain, but all the new walls are cross-hatched so that you know that they are new. These are concrete walls that are mentioned like this. If you don't understand what it means, you can always go back to the cover sheet and see what this symbol represents. This symbol represents concrete. This symbol represents new wall.
A lot of my customers in the past didn't necessarily understand how doors swing. And so let's look at the door symbol and show what this reflects.
This represents the door, and that means on this side the door hinges, and on that side will be door knob. And this shows the door swing. And this line represents the area that you should not cover with any furniture because door needs to swing back and forth.
And so in this case, this is going to be a left swing door.
Because hinges are on the left hand side.
The hinges are on the left hand side. So if you were to place your back up against this wall, you would see that you would open
with the left hand.
to the left.
And this swings in. Usually on residential project, most of the doors swings in, but sometimes they swing out. I mean, you can see, for example, this existing door swings out.
Yeah, it all depends on the situation. Maybe there's not enough space on the inside and there's more space on the outside.
Right. This house was a 3-story house, so the owner requested that he has an elevator for him to be easier to move up and down. Location of the elevator is right here, and then on each floor there will be door going out from the elevator.
Okay, let's talk about the windows. I see here you've got FG for fixed glass.
Fixed glass, right.
All the windows are going to
Right.
be represented by these open fill.
Or if it is C, it means casement. So all these windows can be opened, but these are not because we have a door that can open so you can have cross ventilation.
On the floor plan, what's really important, the dimensions that are critical to construction are the ones displayed. You're not going to necessarily get dimensions on existing parts of the house unless it's relevant to
Right,
construction.
except if there is work to be done.
But you see we have dimensions showing opening, showing wall lengths
Right,
between
this is
windows.
connection between existing house and the new addition.
And then here we have showing the ceiling height. Usually that's always boxed in. You'll see what the floor finish is. So here in this mechanical room, I think this was serving the elevator. Here we have tile,
Living room, hardwood floor.
hardwood. Is there anything else we need to talk about on this drawing?
Elevations. There is a different elevation here, different elevation. So that will tell you that this is lower and this is higher.
Here we have our first example of a section, right?
Symbols, right. This is symbol for section. So this will be section number 2 on sheet A5. This is section number 3 on sheet A5. Or if you look at the sheet A5, you will see section like thrown through here, looking that way. Section through here, looking that way.
Essentially like you're cutting from this point
Right, and then looking
and then
that
looking
way.
in. So here we have the first floor plan note, and it shows that it's drawn in 1/4-inch scale.
Right. So if you need to measure some dimensions, you can simply use an architectural scale. This is an architectural scale, which anybody can buy at Office Depot and Staples. And you can look at and find which one is 1/4 inch. So each one of these is 1 foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From this side is 1/8 of an inch. So it's a little bit confusing if you don't understand.
And as a contractor, when you're on the job, you can take a tape measure and just go, for instance, in this case, 1/4 inches equals to a foot. You can take your tape measure and just match up the same way. So every 1/4 inch
Meaning a foot.
is going to be a foot. So
Other things that explain, like a concrete steps with a stone finish on top. So we don't necessarily have to draw every piece of stone, but if you stay with the stone finish, it means there will be stone placed on each one of these steps.
anytime you have a staircase, it's going to show a symbol showing which direction the stairs are going up.
Up
So-
or down.
Right, so here it's quite clear because you have multiple steps, but here it's a little bit easy to miss this because it's just one step. But you can see this is a step up. The foyer here had a landing and then a step down into the living room. And then also it's showing you this wall is a little bit thicker than say this wall here. And so it's showing you 2x6 at 16 inches on center. So that's just showing you
What the
more
wall is
detail
made
about
of.
what the
Right,
wall is made
right.
out of. In a lot of residential projects, you don't have MEP drawings. In a case like this, the
Actually,
smoke
it's-
detector would be shown on the floor plan because you don't have an electrical plan or a mechanical plan. There's a note down here. There's the smoke detector is here on the floor plan, just showing where the smoke detector would be placed. So now we're on the elevation drawing.
Elevation drawing. It shows which elevation it is. Left side elevation. Originally was the name of the street. So when we said Ridgely side elevation, that means looking from the street towards the house. On every drawing you have a scale. This one is 3/16 of an inch equals 1 foot. And the reason for a little bit smaller scale is because 1/4 of an inch would not fit. But we wanted to have it as large as possible so it's easy to read. And you can see the height of this addition. You have ground floor, first floor, second floor, and third floor. So it is 4 stories in a way.
And elevations really serve as a perspective rendering without the rendering.
Right.
So you see it in 2D what the house will look like from the outside.
And also gives the relationship of materials. For example, the siding was made out of hardyboard. Yeah, we have hardyboard siding, and this shows the roof shingles. And because existing portion of the house, we redid the shingles in order to match.
This represents siding, and we used cedar impression hardy siding here, asphalt shingles, and then there is also a metal roof. So you can see the different
symbols. Materials. Another interesting thing, it had a balcony in the third floor because from the third floor you could see the water. Big house being on the water, but there are a lot of things in between the house and the water. You couldn't see the water that easy of the ground floor, first floor, second floor.
Yeah, 270 degrees of water view.
All sides around, you know, they could see the water. This also shows the existing house. It had a ground level, which is more like a basement level, but it was finished, and then it had the first floor, second floor, and they were tied together with the addition.
And with the elevation, you can get a sense of the slope of the property. You can see the change of slope in relation to the house. And since this was the existing portion, you're not showing great detail here, but you do see, you know, the ground level here, and then a lot of changes in the slope. Right, you have your elevation points, and then you also show the height.
The height. And usually on residential project, the height is limited to 35 feet. But in this particular case, they allowed us to do addition with a different height than the front.
Because most of the work was on the back side.
Right, but a lot of people would count, you know, from here to there. It would be way more.
Right.
35 feet would not be allowed.
So other things that the elevations show are trim. See here you have Hvac trim. So these are just finishing details.
Shows you the windows.
Shows you the windows.
The door. The door was with the glass, for example, and the transom.
This was cable rail for the railing system.
Right.
Posts and cable rail
so that you
for
can
the deck.
See through it as easy without problems.
Handrail on the steps. The same symbol as we saw in the foundation. This is the foundation wall that's just visible up until where you have siding. And then
it's concrete.
Here we have stone before it transitions into the siding.
Right, stone was to this level and then, right. Okay, the next page will be the typical wall sections showing how the walls are being built. Starting from concrete foundation, concrete wall,
rebar.
Rebar explains, you know, how deep it has to go below the ground, and in different areas the depth has to be different. It needs to be 2'6" because this is Maryland.
Right, and this determines where the frost line is.
But if it is Florida, it will be way less.
Right.
It will be maybe 18 inches.
Every state has their own requirement for that. It goes deeper the farther north you go.
Go New York, it will be 3.5 feet.
We also see insulation, we see siding, we see gypsum wallboard, and you have notes here, painted or flooring on plywood.
And this shows other details like the base, what the flooring is made of.
Right, shoe mold, vented soffit, aluminum gutters, shows again
shingles,
the roof construction.
Right, again showing insulation in the roof. And this is some details of the stairway, showing how the stairs are being built, showing what the floor system is. In this particular case, the guardrail was made out of glass. So we had wood framing and then glass in between.
And it shows you all, you know, again, other details of what types of connectors are to be used.
And this is section through the stairs this way, and this is section through the floor, and you can see stairs in elevation. And this is section through the railing and the guardrail.
And then you have some other sections here. This was for the loft.
So I'm showing how the windows are and how the paneling was built.
The whole premise of this room was to make it look like an old traditional ship. So it had mahogany wood panels and trim to mimic.
Including the ceiling was also.
Right.
Let's jump to landscaping.
Okay, so this landscaping plan is pretty comprehensive.
Because owner demanded.
Well, also the city also demanded.
They wanted to see every plant that we're going to plant. Simple landscaping plan architects can do. A few trees here and there where the grass is, where the paving is, and so forth. But in this particular case, we hired a landscape architect. So in association with the architect, he came up with this plan. And it was very important to show all the details. These are, for example, existing trees, but then everything else is new. All these things inside are new trees. And showing what the species are and how far they are located, and the bushes, the walking area with the stepping stones. Hardscaping.
This shows the existing trees. It was important not to encroach on the drip line of these trees so that we could preserve the root systems of these trees. I remember that was a big issue when we were doing excavation for the addition. With most of our projects, the landscaping plan isn't this complex. And these are all things pursuant to what the city required.
Another very important drawing is structural drawing. Structural drawing gives the details how the house is built so it can stand. For example, this drawing shows attic floor plan and low roof framing plan. So these are the symbols for the joists.
And the trusses.
And these are roof trusses.
Right, it shows how they connect into each other. And then this starts getting very specific. For instance, this is showing LVLs. So as a homeowner, you're probably not going to be very familiar with those components, but the general contractor will understand all that. They usually give this drawing, for instance, like since this is the roof framing plan, they're going to give this drawing to a manufacturer of trusses, and they're going to provide their own shop drawings that they create, which you'll have to submit to the building department, either an inspector on the field.
They design based on the architectural structural drawings, but the sizes, the pitches. So when we started to do an addition, we first started from footings. The dotted line represents the width of the footing, and then the solid line represents concrete foundation wall, what goes on top of the footing. And if you remember going back to the wall section, this was the footing and this is the wall. And again, has all the dimensions necessary.
So here we see some symbols that we haven't seen before. For instance, this is a 6x6 post that's pressure treated, extend to the concrete footing. Top of footing, 1 foot 4 inches. Top of wall, 8 foot 9 inches. So that's just giving additional information. When they poured these walls, they knew where to stop them to leave openings for the windows, because this level had windows that went in between these small concrete walls. And then here we see steel column on a separate footing. Okay, so here we have the mechanical drawings, and again, depending on the complexity of your project, it may or may not require a plan for permit, but in this case, it was required. It shows the ductwork and shows where the new units...
Where the units are located. Like, for example, it says air handling unit number 2.
It's 5 tons.
5 tons, and it's located in the
attic.
In the existing house attic space. These lines show the ducts and the sizes of ducts.
26 by 24,
14 by 6, and so forth. And then over here shows connect to existing, but usually you don't have to show existing because it's already there, so they're not going to do work, but we just show where it is connected to existing. But then these are new, so we have to show all those, and then we have to show
the registers
that are connected to those ducts.
And you're showing the CFM on each register.
Right. All the registers have to add up to the size of the unit. 5-ton unit is 2,000 CFMs. So all these registers have to be calculated. They cannot exceed 2,000 because that is the capacity of this particular unit.
I also noticed you have some plumbing notes on the mechanical drawing as well.
Right. Because we didn't have much plumbing in this part. That's why we have plumbing now. The plumbing was all located in the existing house. Mm-hmm. In the new addition, there was no plumbing.
Yeah, there was a hose bib by the garage, which you indicate
right, that
here.
was about the only thing, you know.
Okay, so here we've got the electrical plans. A floor plan that shows all of the lighting fixtures, switches,
outlets, and wiring.
Shows how lights are on a circuit.
Right. This is the legend. And legend has symbols which represent certain lighting fixtures. There is a fluorescent light, there is a under cabinet light, there is a floodlight that usually goes outside on the eaves of the house, on the corners.
We had monopoint lights that were for like artwork and...
Directional lights, and there are switches, there are outlets, there are ceiling fans. all these symbols are different and they explain what is on the plan.
Got these outdoor sconces that are in the solid black symbol, fluorescent lights in the garage, GFI receptacles for the garage.
In the garage
possible
or
wet
anything
areas.
close to the water. There are also notes explaining certain things about lights.
And I see you have smoke detectors here, like we had on the floor plan, but since this is the electrical drawing, they're going to be here. So you see smoke detectors,
Smoke detectors as well.
up in the loft. Everything that an electrical contractor is going to need for this floor. Okay, so now we're on a plumbing drawing. This is for a different project, but this is going to show all the things that a plumber needs. Shows fixtures, an itemized list of all the things that are going in there. Riser diagrams that show
Sizes of pipes, type of pipes, all that is shown there. Shows the new water heater. In the riser diagram shows how everything is connected. This is the riser diagram
for the kitchen.
for the kitchen. This is the riser diagram for the
For
bathroom.
the bathroom. So here you have all your water lines. You have your cold water and your hot water lines serving the lavatories.
Water closet
Water
is only
closets.
cold water.
And then for the sanitary riser diagram, it shows you your sewer lines and venting. Vent going through the house, and then you have P-traps for, this was dishwasher,
Yeah,
kitchen sink,
A service
sink.
and there was another lavatory, laundry tub.
It shows the existing sanitary sewer, clean out, access, and then shows the lines. Okay, so then we also have the plumbing floor plan, which shows the plumbing in relation to the floor plan. So for instance here, you can see the bathroom, bathroom 1 shows the shower.
Well, for example, shows where the existing line was coming into the house. We were replacing all the bathroom fixtures. So we were showing how they connected to the sewer line. And that was also shown over here in the kitchen. We were replacing everything, all the plumbing fixtures. We replaced the water heater, and then we had to show how all these things are connected. We also had washer and dryer, so washing machine needs also connection to the sanitary sewer and needs hot and cold water.
Good architectural drawings will show all the information, but only what is necessary and not be overly ornate. You know, you've gotten
Right.
compliments for the simplicity of your drawings.
Right, but covering everything that is necessary. The contractors like those drawings because it's very simple for them to read and to do exactly what is necessary.
So we hope this overview of drawings makes you familiar with the symbols used, and if you have drawings for your own home, you might be able to interpret them a little bit more than before. But your architect should be able to explain any questions that you have regarding your drawings.